Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies. This is the greatest week of the year. Why? Because we are officially, 4 days? Yes.
Yep. Oh, Jesus.
Thursday.
4 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 4 more days to Halloween.
Silver Shamrock.
Oh, holy shit. Okay, so we just passed a bad wreck and we were just almost in a wreck, so I'm going to need everybody to be sending good juju for about the next 10 to 15 minutes. Sorry.
Well.
No gypsy curses allowed.
What was that? That sounded like a doggy.
George sounds like a donkey. What?
No, I heard a screech in my headphones. I don't know what it was. It was one of y'all, but it sounded like when a dog or whatever.
I heard it too, and I had to look at my camera because I thought y'all got in a fucking wreck or something. I was like, no way.
No.
If that would have been the case, there literally would be like a lifetime ban on ever bringing up the phrase gypsy curses on An Evening at the Movies.
Just go ahead
again.
Can we just go ahead and ban it? I mean, I don't need any more of y'all's bad juju in my life. Only good juju. The only Jew I like. Except Shanna. Shanna's gonna like that joke. Shanna is gonna
Shanna will like that joke. Now we have to encourage Shanna to actually watch this episode of An Evening at the Movies, just for that one joke. It is Halloween Horror Fest 2024. We are putting the kibosh to the entire spooky season on An Evening at the Movies, and we're wrapping it up the only way that we know how. But before we get to all of that nonsense, we need to welcome back everybody's favorite co-host, who is driving down the road in the great state of Texas.
To be clear, I am not driving the car. Yeah.
No, I was officially going to introduce your husband as well as being your chauffeur. So, chauffeuring everybody's favorite co-host down the highway in Texas is the great George Kohlhofer. Hi, George.
Everybody says hi.
So, welcome back,
co-host. We will be home momentarily. Thank you. Sorry for the car thing. We went to go check out our finally purchased lot of land that we will be building our dream house on. So we went to take some pictures and just kind of walk around and so very exciting stuff.
I spotted a Bigfoot on your property.
Yeah. George is kind of a Yeti.
That ironically looked a lot like George Kohlhofer.
Yes.
So, in the meanwhile, we have another awesome guest with us this week. He's pretty much been here almost every week this month, with I think the exception of Scream 2. Welcome back, Chancey Greif.
Hey, yo.
Chauncey.
That was definitely not your usual.
Yeah. I gotta keep y'all on your toes, you know. But hi.
That's better. So,
Hello.
how was everyone's amazing week this week?
Oh, same old, same old. I mean, closed on a very expensive construction loan, so there's that.
Evidently, everybody's favorite co-host signed her name like 37 times
I did, and
last
with my
weekend.
surgical hand, it hurt really bad. It was not great.
So,
Yeah, we signed
cat
our
out of
names
the
a lot.
bag. That is the reason why um, the Plobster was not with us last weekend for Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was just a great chance to drive.
Yeah, but I'm here
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Where are your bitches? Yeah. If you know, you know.
Chancy, how is life in the great Iowa?
Starting to get cold, so it's gonna suck real bad real quick. But outside of that, it's all good.
I'm jealous. It's like 85 degrees here right now.
Shut. Oh,
87.
don't do this, Amanda. Don't do this. Please don't do this. This is
What?
exactly what happened. This is exactly the prerequisite. This is the precursor to what happened last time.
Yeah.
What?
When you went on your vacation and it was cold as
Oh.
fuck where I was at, and you're all like, "Oh, this is the temperature it's fixing to be where I'm at," and I was like, "Oh, really?"
Okay, well, you don't have to. That doesn't mean you have to curse me because you're jealous of my weather and I'm jealous of your weather.
It's like from the Big Lebowski. It's like, Smokey, you're entering a world of pain. Market 0.
I have been in a world of pain since February. Thank you very much. You got what you wanted. I am still in pain.
Well, technically, the add-ons, I don't actually, no. I will take responsibility up to the feline interaction. All right, that cat's shit is that cat's shit. It ain't got shit to do with me. My shit was done and over with. The cat came in and took over and said, "I got it from here," and I was like, "All right, fam, I got you."
No, she didn't injure me
Yeah.
any more than I was already injured. I mean, she caused me to fall again, but
No, but she demolished the freaking dining room table.
George put it back together. Looks the same. But the second fall I had, which injured my hand, I will still blame on you guys because I had a broken ankle and had to be on the scooter because of you guys. So it all goes together. Anyway, let's move on. We could argue about this every week.
Oh my god, that's
I'm
great.
never
I'm
living
so
it down.
sorry. I'm so sorry to laugh at that,
look
No, you're
but
not.
that
look at my scar. I don't know if I can show you. Can you see my scar here? This is not working out. Never mind. I got what some people would call a badass scar on my arm. I think it's terrible and I'm very upset about it.
I got your scar beat by a mile.
It's not a
So,
competition. But yeah.
no, it's not. But before we get to this week's episode, I did possibly make a slight, almost promise that I would let everybody know because last night I watched the brand new Josh Hartnett movie Trap on the Max, and I actually stayed awake for the whole freaking movie, believe it or not.
So
So,
did you like it? Because I heard lots of mixed reviews. Like I heard Josh Hartnett's acting was good, but that the movie wasn't that great. I don't know. I mean, don't spoil it for me. But what did
so I'm not
you
definitely 100%. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because it is M Night,
Shyamalan?
however you pronounce his last name movie, and
Shyamalan.
however, Shamalama Ding Dong.
Exactly.
But and I guess there could be plot twists along the way, but
Well, I mean, we know he's the killer. I mean, they reveal that in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Depending upon your taste in cinematic adventures, it's a good movie. It's something that I would probably watch again
Nice.
multiple times.
I'm gonna watch it this week.
I really wasn't expecting a great performance from Josh Hartnett. I'm not a huge Josh Hartnett fan, never have been.
Yeah.
But and this goes back to before Halloween H2O. So
What was he in before Halloween H2O? I thought that was like his debut.
No, it was.
I was gonna say I think there was one or two other things right before.
Well, then
H2O.
why does Halloween H2O say introducing Josh Hartnett?
Because that was probably his mainstream.
Oh,
I thought
that's
he was on
right.
TV first.
He was in that. Was that? I don't think that was before Halloween H2O. The movie where he has to go without sex for 30 days. What's that?
Oh
movie
yeah, that
called?
was definitely after. Yeah.
That was after.
Yeah.
And the Faculty was after, right? I think.
Yep. Very
Was he?
shortly after.
Was
I
he
thought
on
he was on a TV
Tuesday?
show first. That's what I was thinking. Is that he was on a TV show before that, and that's why they
But I
said
can't.
introduced
was
him.
I.
But
He
I
wasn't
don't.
on
I
like
don't.
Felicity or Dawson's Creek or any of those. So I don't know.
No. We're probably all wrong, and you're probably correct about it being his first movie. But
I'm googling as we speak.
I thought he was good in that. Oh crap! What's that movie called? The one about the Black Dahlia. You know what I'm talking about?
oh yeah.
I thought he was good in that
Shit.
movie. It's
Yeah,
the
that
name of
was
the road,
actually.
and I can't remember it. What is the name of that road? Is anybody
I don't
watching live?
remember.
Like, can we get some comments? Help us out. Anyway, so Josh Hartnett had a good performance.
He actually really did, considering he didn't have a whole lot to work with. I mean, it's not a typical Josh Hartnett type character, so there is that. But okay,
Mulholland Drive. That's what it's called. Jesus.
Oh yeah, Mulholland Drive. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Okay.
so as far
I
as
am
film
going to.
goes, his first two movies were Halloween H2O and The Faculty.
Nice.
Told ya.
As far as television goes, his debut was on a show called Cracker.
Okay.
Okay. Never heard of it. But I digress. So definitely it's a movie that I would recommend if you like thrillers slash suspenseful movies, then more than likely you will probably enjoy this movie. So,
Right on.
are we ready to get into this week's amazing episode of An Evening at the Movies?
Are we ready to get strange?
Well, I mean, we did lose the video on the. Hello,
Sorry,
co-host.
I was coming in the house and I didn't think you guys would want to hear all that noise. Okay.
Probably not.
Okay, you guys, this keeps happening and I'm starting to get freaked out. We turn off our TV and it keeps coming back on, like randomly. The other day I went to physical therapy and I knew I had turned off the TV and I came home and it was on and I thought somebody was in the house. Like I was freaking out. Okay. If
That
you're
would
there,
be
please don't
concerning.
murder me. Yeah. So far, if it's a ghost, they seem to like me because they haven't hurt me yet. Okay. I am going to run upstairs real quick and get settled so that I can have a better recording thing. So
okay, so Chancey Greif and I will shoot the shit until you get back, and then we'll get into this week's
Okay.
episode.
Sorry. Like 4 or 5 minutes. I'll be right back.
Oh, well, we can kill that much time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
My initial thought was just fucking stay quiet and just keep it silent the whole fucking time as long as humanly possible. But I couldn't make it too far. That's so funny. I can't hear you. I'm sure he's talking, but
Have you seen anything interesting this week, Mr. Chanty Gripe?
not really. No, I've been playing a lot of video games
So
and
definitely, you did not watch this week's movie this week. Good to know.
oh, sorry. No, I thought you meant other than the watch party that we did. I thought we were gonna wait to like talk about that when she got back. That's my bad, dude.
No, I'm just being a smartass.
I mean, I was like, I thought about bringing it up, but I was like, well, no, we should probably. That's like we're supposed to kind of wait thing. So I just gonna wait.
Oh, good times. It,
I it was
warming
so much fun.
warming the audience up. I think this is going to be an interesting discussion with definitely varying opinions on the
Yeah.
subject matter.
Well, yeah.
So we do have. Oh, looky, he's here with us again this week.
Oh,
Amanda's
what's
dad's here.
up?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, good sir. Your daughter is moving to different rooms of the house, so she'll be rejoining us here in just a moment. That's why we're dragging our feet, waiting for her to rejoin us. Well, of course, I mean, we know who your daughter is, and your daughter is a staunch supporter of all things Halloween. So we assume that she kind of got it from yourself, good sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying varying opinions and
Oh, yeah. I think because generally, for the most part, when we talk about movies, we at least 95% of the time tend to have very similar opinions. I'm not so sure we're all going to have the same opinions on this particular movie. Indeed, her first favorite song was "Dirty Deeds."
that's funny.
Well, we are going to have to ask her about this when she gets back here in just a moment.
That's a great song though. I mean,
It is.
Bon Scott ACDC was where it's at.
And giving us dirt on you, because that'll make her hurry up and get back.
That's true.
Oh, Waiting on the co-host because we have a lot to cover today. So, I guess while we have everybody's favorite father in the audience watching, since his daughter hasn't locked down the appearance, we will just confirm whether or not he is still willing to come in and either reinforce or shoot down all of our interpretations for A Few Good Men, as we had planned on doing a couple months ago. Doopy 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 doop. Haha! Yes! We will definitely get that one set up sooner rather than later because, like I said, we've been planning it for a couple of months since Amanda and I talked about the movie initially back in May or April, one of the two. So definitely 100% no secrets will be given out, but maybe the good kind sir can potentially wink wink confirm or deny things. Oh, looky who's back with us. Welcome back, co-host. Hello, co-host. Her father knows.
Hello. Okay. Sorry, I am here. I am just having a technical difficulty, so I'll turn on my camera in a second. Hey, I'm not fashionably late. I was here and then I had to, take a break.
So,
Now I'm back.
your daughter actually was out with your son-in-law, um, taking pictures of their new property in which they are going to be building their dream home on.
Heck
So,
yeah.
when we started the episode, she and George were in the car on the way home. So she had to disconnect and reconnect when she got home and got up into the office. So that's why there's all of that. So while we have you here, co-host,
Yeah.
um, there's a message that your father left that we need some clarification on.
Okay.
Your first favorite song?
Okay. What about it? I don't even know. He says it's
Claims
man.
your
He's wrong.
no.
Oh.
He said your first favorite song was "Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap."
Yeah, he's told me that before. I don't recall that, but I believe him.
Well, I mean, he is the father, so you would assume that he would know.
Yeah, you would think so.
So, all right, are we ready for this week's discussion?
Yes.
Things are fixing to get a little strange here, people. Pun intended. And I stole it from Chancy Ripe, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Nothing wrong with
All
that,
right.
though.
So we are going to be discussing D. Snyder's Strangeland, which released on October 2nd, 1998. It was directed by John Pieplow. It was distributed by Artisan Entertainment. It had a budget of, excuse me, $1.1 million and made a whopping $713,239 at the box office. So it lost money.
Yep.
So if you have not seen this movie and would like to watch this movie, it can be found on the Tubi, I believe is where we had our watch party from. Correct, co-host?
Yep. That is correct. Oh, well, she was muted anyway, so I guess
She
kind
still
of
is
worked
muted.
out. Yep. This is truth.
So,
Yes, sorry. I'm having a little issue with my computer here. So I apologize.
operator error.
No, okay, fine, whatever.
These
So,
things
It's
happen.
not my screens, like because I
I
have two screens and it's only showing me one of them, even though I'm saying use both screens. So I don't know what is going on. And George went to get a haircut, so he can't help me yet.
yeah. Well, and by the time George comes back, we'll probably be done anyway.
Yeah. So
Which movie we will be discussing? Strangeland. D. Snyder's Strangeland.
Yes.
I feel like we had this discussion the other night during one of the commercial breaks on Tubi. Did we not?
Probably.
About Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yep.
Okay, then I'm not going to wager into the game of do we want to guess what the Rotten Tomato score is and how significantly different both of these scores are.
Mhm.
On 10,000 plus ratings, the popcorn meter has this movie rated as a 64%. On 16 reviews, the tomato meter has this movie at a whopping 58% lower, 6%. So go figure. All right. So with all of that said, which one of you fools would like to let the listeners know about this movie?
I'm gonna let Chancey do it.
I was gonna say no. This is Amanda's forte.
All right.
Start the clock.
All right. Hold on. Okay.
Because I know if I try to do it, I'm just gonna tell everybody the entirety of the movie.
What year was this movie made?
98.
1998.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it really does. So
It is
are you
very
ready?
much a film of its time. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. This is simple.
I'm ready. I'm ready. On your mark, get set, go.
Strangeland is a 1998 American horror film written by Dee Snider and directed by John Piplo. The film centers around a police detective trying to save his city, as well as his daughter, from an online predator who enjoys bringing enlightenment through ritual pain. So, torture porn. There you go.
23.5 seconds.
Exactly.
And pretty much she summed up the entire movie in that 23 seconds. So there is all of that. So, all right, co host, because I feel like if I ask this question to Chancey Gray first, then we're opening ourselves a whole other can of worms that I don't feel like we're ready to open just yet. But
Okay.
was there anything about this movie that you loved. Okay. Evidently, there was nothing about this movie that Amanda loved.
Hmm.
So, go figure. Eh.
I am so sorry.
So, I'm
That was kind of
guessing because of the timing of my question with your departure, there was nothing about this movie that you loved?
Do you guys hear an echo?
No.
Okay.
Not really, no.
Okay.
I think it was just funny, though, because I asked if there was anything about the movie that you loved, and then all of a sudden you just left.
Just
I was like,
Right.
just
okay.
noped. Like, all right then.
She hated the movie.
Anything that I loved. Oh, I know why there's an echo. Okay, hold on. I liked the story. I thought it had a lot of potential. Um, you know, I don't know. I guess the aesthetic was cool for like 1998. Like it's very a 90s movie. You can tell. Um,
Yeah.
that's probably about it.
So it definitely 100% had a good, solid mid to late 90s feel to it. I
Yeah.
felt like the story was very relatable to the time because, I mean, we still have the issue today, not in the same sense, word for word, that is played out in the movie, but um, like the internet was still fairly fresh at the time, and you had a whole lot of online predators and whatnot in your chat rooms and
Oh,
Yahoo Instant Messenger and ICQs and all of that stuff. So adding that dynamic to the movie as well helped create a very relatable aspect of the story. The music I actually thought was pretty underrated for the movie. I thought it felt like it very much fit into what was going on. Sometimes even very much in a cliche type fashion, but um,
it definitely fit. It was just too metal for me, but that's just personal taste.
well, I mean, this is the same person who gave Metallica's One a number 8 on her top 10 list. Not that we're
Listen,
going to beat a dead horse.
can we not?
Love you, co-host. Mean it.
Mhm.
Um,
No,
all right.
in hindsight, I would have ranked it higher. Okay. But y'all knew going in, Metallica was not in my wheelhouse. I knew very few Metallica songs. I was willing to listen to some to do that list with you guys, but you can't shame me for not knowing what I don't know.
Right. That's
So
especially if it's not your wheelhouse. So no,
yeah,
I will definitely come to your aid on this one because
thank you.
that'd be like
I
you expect.
All
That'd be
right.
like you coming at me because I don't know no T Swifties.
exactly.
Like that's not my wheelhouse. So I can't be expected to be like a celebrity overnight, if you will.
And speaking of that,
All
that was
right.
the other amazing thing that happened to me this week. I got a ticket to the Eras tour. Okay, sorry. As many people as I can tell about this, I'm just going to tell them because I'm so fucking excited. I can't stand it.
Well, there's definitely a significant portion of our audience is watching right now, so they all know that you're going to the Eras tour as well.
Toronto night.
All right,
Okay.
Band-Aid, time to rip it off. Chancy Greif, what do you love about this movie?
I mean, okay, I am getting my heater. I'm getting my heater looked at. 1 second.
Oh, I thought she was gonna be like, "Do you have an hour?"
Wait, Girl Casey has a sarcastic comment? I'm surprised.
I am shocked. I very much liked Josh's review of the movie, so I know Chancey is going to touch on some of those points, and maybe we'll read that because he pretty much summed up how I felt about it too. So,
Yeah, actually, go ahead and read that. Go ahead and read that review because I do have some rebuttals to it, and I figured that having it provided for context would be a good thing because it is very well written. So
it is very well written. Okay, so. Oh, okay. Contacts is making this hard to read.
So,
All right.
Before you get to the review, let me just preface also with the fact that your dad chimed in with his thoughts.
Oh, I missed it.
It's still on the screen. That he said the impaling and the piercing made even him squeamish.
Yeah, me too. I did not care for that. Okay, here we go. One more thing real quick. Okay. So, our friend Josh from the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network watched this movie, and here's what he had to say. He gave it 1.5 stars, just so you know. Strangeland is a movie defined by the decade it was made in. Word. The film starts out with a pretty interesting concept, a high-stakes game of cat and mouse between a detective and a psycho with an early 90s internet backdrop. Unfortunately, that quickly dissolves into something seemingly written by a high school edgelord. The writing is atrocious and insults the intelligence of the viewers many times with its lack of logic. The characters are mostly cardboard 90s cliches with the dialogue to match. Only a couple performances stand out as somewhat decent. Dee Snider's Captain Howdy does come off as very intimidating, and Snyder puts a lot into the performance, but it is mired in senseless monologues and the lack of a fleshed-out backstory. I 100% agree with that. Robert Englund also shines as he gives an over-the-top yet entertaining performance as vengeful member of the community. It's somewhat ironic as well, considering his most well-known role, which is something I said too. I do feel the need to say that the imagery of body modification torture that Captain Howdy inflicts on his captives is very well done and highly disturbing. If you don't have a piercing, this film will make you consider never changing that. Overall, this movie has the bones of something that could have been an instant classic, but it fails to add the much-needed flesh and viscera that would have brought it to life. I concur with almost all of that. All right, Chancey. What are you going to do to us?
All right. So here's my thing. Let's start with the fleshed out backstory. Amanda, as a fellow enthusiast of a certain fucking franchise of ours, how fucking excited were we when they fleshed out some ignorant bullshit backstory about curses, which I enjoyed, or adopted sisters and other etc. added nonsensical bullshit. Oh, no. Wait, no, we're putting it over here because that was number one. Numero dos. What? Well, no, because we've made comments together. You and I have made direct comments about how we wished like that was not that it just wasn't conducive to how good the way that the build up for it was.
But it's not the same scenario. Michael Myers.
It's absolutely the same scenario. It's a fleshed out backstory.
Right, but Michael Myers didn't need one, and the fact that they gave him one takes away the horror. Captain Howdy, you very much need to know what drives him because his whole thing is to bring enlightenment through torture. Like, he has an agenda. Michael Myers doesn't have an agenda, so we don't need all this extra bullshit information. This guy has an agenda, and we need to know why he's doing this.
why does everybody try to rationalize an irrational mind?
Well, I'm not trying to rationalize it. But
Well, no, you are.
made
You
me that
literally
way.
said, I need to know. I need to know. He has an agenda. We need to know why. No, we don't. He's a fucking psychopath. He is crazy and
He
suffers
is.
from delusions, who believes that he needs to be the person that enlightens individuals with actual rituals. That's the other thing that I found to
He's
be
the one telling us
extremely.
that.
But that, yeah, I know. And he's like, that also lets a perfect segue into the other part. Now, if there weren't those, useless monologues,
Oh, they're
then,
terrible.
but that also, see, like, that would also take away from, that would actually, in my opinion, make it that much worse, because of the fact that with that fucking nonsensical monologuing that he does, it fucking completely illustrates. Not only is he drinking his own fucking Kool-Aid, but he's fucking delusional.
Yeah.
Like, he's ranting on like a crazy person.
I just thought it was too over the top. I think the monologues were necessary, absolutely. I just think it became so nonsensical that it was like, obviously we want to know that the guy's a psychopath and that the stuff he's saying, clearly he's crazy, but it veered off so far sometimes that it was like, I'm not even following what you're saying, and it doesn't make any kind of, like, I'm trying to explain this where, like, it doesn't need to make sense, but it needs to make sense enough for us to listen to it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So
that made no sense.
So I mean, no, I get the point that you're trying to get at, but I still double back to my original point. You're attempting to fucking transcribe and understand the prophetical fucking ramblings of the fucking nut job behind the fucking 7-Eleven who's got a fucking shopping cart and is talking to no one. You can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. You can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. Like, that line from that Slipknot song came from a homeless dude ranting in the street.
If they want us to watch the movie and care about these characters and be invested, and I'm not saying that we want to care about Captain Howdy.
I was going to say, what the fuck?
If the people who made this movie want us to watch it and be invested in whatever way that we are, the dialogue has to at least make some kind of sense where we want to understand where it's going. And sometimes it did, and other times it was just like, this is stupid. Like, it was making me laugh because it was so stupid, and that's not what you want from a horror movie. So it just, I feel like it was overdone, and it could have been a little, I don't know. I think it was too overdone, but that's just me.
So I then also revert back to, sorry, go ahead, Casey.
I was just going to say, welcome to watching the show, Girl Casey. Thank you for being here with us. Nancy,
yeah, it's a whole watch party. Anyway, actually, I'll double back.
Okay.
So looking past the sorry, I was reading. Looking past the obvious nature of it being a vanity project, and I mean, yeah, clearly, obviously, I think that may be the ultimate disconnect in all of this, is that, like I said when we had the watch party, which I do want to double back on, because that was probably like the absolute best thing that not even just like, like, oh no, nothing good's happened in my life, but like, as far as like, there's like situations where you're doing stuff and you're just like, I kind of needed that. It was good.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'm gonna I'm gonna put together some clips from that because I recorded it. Can't do too much copyrighted, but I'm gonna, yeah.
There
but
is a recording that was made, and there may
a partial recording.
I mean, we only missed like the first 10 or 15 minutes. It's all right.
And Casey was on and off camera throughout the whole entire movie, but
we did miss one of my shock and awe moments at the beginning.
The evidence, yeah, the evidence of said watch party may see the light of day for our amazing viewers' enjoyment. So stay tuned for that as well.
But there's going to be a
I'm
cover
excited for
charge,
that.
yo.
But
Whoa, you
You
oh,
don't
can't
get
hang
this
from
kind of
outside of the
wonderment
club. You can't
game.
even get.
So,
Continue.
Chancy Griff, you had more that you wish to address?
absolutely. But like I said, I do want to double back to the watch party because, like, I don't want this to just be like a fucking, a dirty bomb of Chancy meltdown because that's fucking not what I'm here for.
No.
But like, so the big disconnect on me for the whole thing is like, we both can absolutely agree on the fact that it is a fucking generic bad horror film, which
Oh, yeah.
we generally love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are certain
Yeah.
elements like, and like I know you turn around and you say we don't want laughter in a horror film. Okay, Amanda, we're friends. I'm gonna say this.
That's not what I said.
You literally did say that. You
I
said
did
there were
not
points
say
where
we don't want laughter in a horror
you
movie.
did.
No, I didn't. I
You
said
literally
I
said, no, stop.
I did not.
You literally said there were times that I was laughing, and that's not something you want in a horror film. You literally said that.
Oh, all right. Well, that's not what I meant. Like in those serious moments when you're trying.
What?
In the serious
Okay.
moments where he's trying to go through this monologue and you're supposed to be scared and you're supposed to be like trying to figure all this out, that's not when you want laughter. You want laughter when it's like stupid ass cheesy lines and like two teenagers are being stupid, or like, yeah, you definitely want laughter in a horror movie. You need comic relief or you're on an adrenaline rush the whole time. Like, I get it, but those moments weren't meant for laughter. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, but the three of us in this lobby are so fucked in the head that we're gonna laugh at that type of shit. So that kind of takes away from the argument as far as like this is why I don't like this portion. But that was the point that I was making when you were talking about the laughter. But now that you've extrapolated on the point not actually being about laughter itself. But anyway, I've always, like, as I said during that watch party, a movie about good and evil is only as good as bad as the bad guy is. And outside of all the over the top stuff and like attempting to read into delusional rants of a maniacal mind, so to speak, who, like, I mean, I see the points that you're making, but it's like, okay, and because that's the point of the character. If that wasn't there, it would have been a trash fucking character. Like, you don't need the extrapolated shit because here's what you got. You got a fucking psychopath. Clearly, look at him. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
Everything about this guy screams fucking delusion. Beyond delusion. But then everybody's listening to what he's saying, but nobody's listening to what he's telling you. Because in all of that word nonsense that he throws out there with his own, like, self-righteous indulgence and being the arbiter of enlightenment to a, ignorant and fucking, childlike mind, as he had put, like, that in and of itself is its own fleshing out of a certain backstory. We have a fucking crazy person on our hands.
Okay,
They
but you
explain.
literally just proved what I was trying to say, that the word vomit was so overwhelming that we couldn't understand the underlying message, and the underlying message is what was important.
But that's there's no point to his underlying message outside of.
Well, when you're doing something for a self-righteous reason, whether it's a good reason or not, there's still like there's a validity to it because he believes it. Like, we know he's crazy, but you still want to try to understand, like, I think it's because it's kind of like in Seven, when the person is doing it because they think you're a sinner, or they think you're evil, or they are trying to impart some kind of wisdom on you. You need to be able to follow his, crazy or not, reasoning
as to why he believes he's doing the right thing. Even though we know it's all insanity, you still have to be able to follow what he's trying to say. And so that's what I was trying to say, is that if he had said fewer words or maybe more sensible words, yeah, he's still a complete psychopath and we know that, but at least you get to glimpse inside his brain as to why he thinks he is doing something good for humanity or whatever, even though he's crazy.
But I don't like that. I don't like that's all there. That's absolutely all there. No, it's just that because a lot of the times he's speaking through quotes. The vast majority of what he's doing is speaking through quotes. So, what does that say? Because that's also characteristic of like certain elements of different types of mental illness, like making reference of their own logic through the words of another individual. Like that's something everybody does, but it also goes a little bit further when you're kind of, under this belief that, like, is to quote the Blues Brothers, on a mission from God. But but let's like that's the overall ultimate point, is that like everything you're saying is lacking. It's really actually there. Nobody's paying attention. Everybody, like, there may be too much going on.
Too much of it to pay attention. That's my point.
I mean, I'm sorry. That's unfortunate, but it's about processing information, and it's supposed to kind of be that way, though. Like it's supposed to actually make you do the things that was like one of my favorite parts about the watch party, was the whole like just you throwing your fucking hands up in front of your face because you were like, you and Casey both, by the way. I'm not gonna let him just be fucking. Well, nobody really does, but that's kind of the point. Is like
I know, but that's not.
It's supposed to put you on.
My hand was up and I was peeking around the tips of my fingers most of the damn movie.
But like, it's supposed to be visceral, and it's supposed to be off-putting and unsettling. But like the biggest thing that the biggest issue I would say that I ultimately have with it is the fact that like this is the literal brainchild of somebody who has next to no I don't know, experience may not be the right word, because you could translate the musical element into a theatrical sort of thing. Yeah. However, with no real like experience in like the cinematic world, so to speak, we'll narrow it down that far.
Yeah.
He not only came up with a premise that actually was brave in the sense that it was one of the first kind of movies that used the internet as the brave new boogeyman.
Yeah.
And it also turned around and, through Dee Snider and his performance, presented, it was like kind of like a fictional cinematic version of the shock that I first experienced when I listened to him actually speak at that PMRC hearing. Dressed in the denim.
That's what I got.
Oh, what's that?
It said Marilyn Manson is what I got from it.
Like, well, no, yeah, no, okay, like, well, okay, I'm not talking about aesthetics though. I'm talking like.
Okay.
No, I'm talking. No, yeah, I get what you're saying on the. Yeah, no, I get that part. But what I'm talking about is like the eloquence, the choice of words that are used in speaking, and the fact that both of us had talked about during the watch party about how it's outside of like Lecter and Pinhead, it's extremely nice having that eloquent type of a speaking villain.
Yeah.
But like. Like I said, that shock of like, oh my goodness, not only can this person be in a band and perform music very well, he's really good at speaking. And this is about the PMRC hearing that I'm talking about. And then you turn around and you watch the movie and you're like, oh man, this is like, it literally starts off with a fucking new song that he wrote for the fucking movie. You're clearly like, oh wow, this is a fucking midlife crisis vanity project. Oh boy, here we go. But then all of a sudden, he starts to, like, the first fucking words that he says before you barely see his fucking teeth. There. That's better. Try not to speak.
Oh yeah, that was chilling.
The words come from a fucking Twisted
Very much.
Sister song,
Yeah.
and then turn around and it gives you the exposure of what's just taken place. Like, it's just as much about sight as it is sound. And you're literally getting the fleshed out parts of the backstory that is stated as not being there, not only in real time but also after the fact as well, because you fucking think to yourself, well, how's a guy like that gonna fucking afford a house without a job? And then it talks about the inheritance. Then, he talks about the inheritance that he got from his father, because, at the very end with the final stand down where he's calling him out for being a bully and whatnot. Like, and also I really want to go back, and I didn't preface this ahead of time, like, Josh's review is extremely well written and he does make a lot of valid points, but the reason I am as fervent, like, as so fervent, like, with such fervor, I should say, in defense of this film, is that, like, I saw it shortly after it came out. So, like, I saw it in the early 2000s, and, like, remembered the being on the Yahoo and MSN chat rooms and all the fun that I used to have with that, and thinking about it, and I like, oh wow, holy shit, that actually could really have been a thing.
Yeah.
And then watching it in the real time, not so much real time as like, oh, I was there on release date, but like I was within a 4-year period of its release, where it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah. Now, hindsight, if I watched this for the first time with y'all, like y'all did, I might have felt a little bit different about it, but I still believe that as I had watched and listened to the things that were going on in the film before me, I would have still pieced together all the things that I got from it. And probably, while I may not have liked it as much as I do now, I still would have liked it, because of the fact that it's so much better than all these fucking trash. Like, we don't even have a straight to DVD or straight to video feature. It's like all that genre style version of these horror films that are coming out, where, like the Chernobyl project, like I was talking about, and the Late Night with the Devil, like we were talking about, where you have all these great buildups and it shits its pants in the last 20 minutes of the fucking movie. But like,
but see, that's how I feel about this movie. I feel like it had so much potential and it didn't deliver the way it's about taste. It's about personal taste. So I'm not like mad at you for how you feel about it. I just feel like
I'm not. I'm just.
It wasn't for me.
I'm not necessarily mad either. I'm just extremely fucking excited. I shouldn't say excited, but passionate about the movie itself. But also, like, I've been bottling this up and holding on to it for 2 fucking days. I've been trying not to do this. I was like, I can't do this right now. But
right. Calm down.
But no, we're good. I was talking about during the watch party. But no, like I said, the fact that it has all the things that, like, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my original point that I was making a second ago. It's so much better than these trash fucking things that we get. And I'm not even talking about Late Night with the Devil, because that's actually fairly decent. Like, it's got a lot of good stuff to it. Same thing with, well, no, maybe not Chernobyl Project. I might put it on par with that one, but still, like, I'll even agree with you that the climax at the very end was very anticlimactic because of what had been built up to it ahead of time. However,
not a climax.
I mean, Howdy might have came.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
But
I don't know though, because I don't think he was getting off on this stuff.
Oh no, he was terrified.
He definitely really believed, the psychotic shit that he was doing. Like, I don't
exactly, and
a lot of murder, like horror villains, murders, whatever. That they've either got mommy issues or they're getting off
daddy issues.
Like,
in his case, no, it was that was
think that was the case here.
So it was actually kind of, in a sense, daddy issues, but it wasn't necessarily anything that needed to be fleshed out, because he didn't exhibit anything that went mommy or daddy. But like,
It wasn't
but
necessary.
you know, no, it wasn't. But that exposition for how he was able to afford the house is the one little piece of information that's really unnecessary. That once explained, ties that part together and is no longer needed or thought about. But like,
sorry, I have to say something real quick. You know what's interesting
no,
about
you're
that
good.
is that they do that, like they, logic usually goes out the window in horror movies. I think we all know this.
For the most part, absolutely.
So the fact that they tried to find logic and show us logic in the how did he afford this house, but they wanted us to believe he got out of a mental hospital in like 2 months or whatever.
No, it's 3 years. It was 3 years.
It might as well have been 2 months. The shit he did to those people, and he got out in 2 or 3 years, that would never, that to me, that was the most ridiculous thing in the movie. At least have
But
him be there
also,
for like 10 years or something. Like, he's fully rehabilitated. Did y'all see the fucking shit he did to these people? Like, he should have
so
been in prison.
okay. Now
Okay, he
here's
should have been in a
here's
mental hospital. That's fair, but
so here might be the thing where we might be able to find the bridge on the disconnect of our agreement or understanding on that scenario, because we never actually got to see how to the extent of his rehabilitation, because he was fucking attacked. Everything up until that attack showed him as someone who was actually putting in the work.
I think it was fake. I think it was a cover. I think he was always going to go back to what he was doing. That's
But
just my opinion.
but there's nothing in the movie that would have presented us anything to the to show opposite of that before the attack.
That kind of
That's kind of,
psychosis doesn't just go away.
and you're right, but there's the attempt. That's I think what the point of that period is supposed to be, and that whole him being out in 3 years is also supposed to. Because I mean, it's basically that, like, what that was kind of a modeling of Ed Kemper. Because that's basically what he did in 4 fucking years at the mental hospital after he killed his fucking grandparents. He convinced everyone. So with Ed Kemper, it's 100% what you're saying. He was still fucking crazy, but he really wasn't on a fucking intended killing spree. That's a discussion for another show.
But he was enough a sociopath to be able to fake it, and that's what I think this guy was too. I think he was psychotic, but he also
I agree that he was psychotic, but we don't know if he was actually, if he was going to go back or not. Everything up until the vigilante attack shows us the person who was putting in the work to try and get better.
Yeah,
and that's the point. And that,
I get
it. But it also is supposed to, that I think that it's one way of them attempting to go against that standardized grain, because you're 100% correct. In every other horror film, that's exactly what would have happened. He would have got out, it would have been a fucking ploy, and then ta-da, here's the second act. Well, technically third act, whatever. But in this one, it's actually okay, well, shit, there's this. Because at first you're like, wow, when I first thought, I was like, this is kind of a fucking, why is this all happening now? This is kind of a short fucking movie. Okay, well, and then you look how long it is and you're like, oh, okay, well, okay. And then the fucking Robert Englund stuff starts happening and you're like, okay, okay. And I love that too, especially with the, the irony that Josh picked up on about, him playing somebody that basically went and got him for his most. Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was my instant thought when we were watching. I was like, okay, Freddy Krueger, I see you.
No doubt.
I think I would have found him being rehabilitated more believable if we had gotten more of that. We got very little other than seeing him, dressed like a vacuum salesman and being all meek and quiet. I think if we had gotten 1 or 2 scenes in the hospital or 1 or 2 scenes out in the real world where you can, I feel like they didn't give us enough of that to believe him.
And I can totally see where you're coming from on that, but the problem is that we're talking about things in the real world, present time, where we're afforded so much more runtime on films to do these things. This thing, and then also to go back to your torture porn argument,
club stuff too.
What's that?
There's some shit that could have been cut out to allow for that. There was way too much S&M club type stuff. Like I get you need a little of that for the aesthetic, but they could have cut some of that out and given us a scene or two of him really trying to be a good guy and not. It was more like they're showing us aesthetically that he's changed, but they didn't show us very much in the way of personality or behavior. And yeah, I get it. It has to be an hour and a half movie because it was the 90s, but it just, to me, it would have been more believable if they hadn't just gone straight from him getting out to him, you know, getting beat up or attacked and then him going back. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected him to do.
Well, no, it's not, because you expected him to just do it because it was part of his evil plan.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
yeah,
not as an act of provocation.
but I maintain that he would have done it anyway. That's how
See, now here's how far disconnected that we are in this scenario, is that you attempting to fucking profile a fictional character.
Oh, fuck off.
I was actually the end of my sentence was, I'm also doing the same thing, but I'm also doing it from a real, I'm looking at it through the more, okay, well, in reality, this is what we have. So with what we have, this is what information I'm going to use to extrapolate with.
Yeah.
And I do see where you're coming from in that element. And I got to say, they did cut out a lot of that fucking club stuff out, because there was actually going to be, and if we ever go back and were to go and watch it again, I could point it out in the actual club scene. I didn't think about it at the time because we didn't have the ability to like stop, start, and talk about it and all that stuff.
Right.
But in that club scene, the fucking detective's fucking boss is the dude in the fucking full face mask.
What?
And that was good. And that, yeah.
Okay.
The full mask with the studs and no shirt. You remember who I'm talking about? They kind of walk by, they go by and turn, do like a half turn, like a, oh shit, did they recognize me kind of thing. But it's so subtle, you don't see it. But like, they cut that whole thing out because that was going to be a tie-in. Like, it would have just been more, and that would have actually, we would have been in full. That's where like that would have been too much for the time and the fucking run time and the whole. Now, absolutely, I would have loved a bit more of this, like for the rehabilitation section. Absolutely, I would have loved the tie-in of the boss and the whole like him being in the scene. And that would have been so cool if it would have been him rather than, the stereotypical, Latino tow truck driver who fucking, is listening to Kid Rock telling the expositionary nonsense of, this is the body art fucking thing. That would have been such an interesting thing that doesn't happen, where it's like, okay, I'm kind of into that. Here's how I know. Here's what I know. Da 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 da. Nothing nefarious. But no, like, yeah, that would have been cool, but also more affordable today. And then, like I said, I really got to double back to your torture porn statement, because speaking of that timetable, they had to navigate the minefield to get a rating for distribution, even in that time at the late 90s. So it's not like the torture porn that we all know and love and agree to disagree about, like, I spit on your grave, or you're the woman, or whichever you want to call it, or all those other
me, so but
all of those horrible, like those things. Yeah, absolutely. Now, and I can understand, yes, that's a fair argument on yours as far as your personal belief and preference. That is torture porn to a certain extent. But also, like, to kind of move away and shift, into like other discussion areas, we can always double back and cover other stuff as well. But like, the fact that like most all of the things that he had done are either taken from some element of an actual ritual for, tribes and shit, or like actual stuff from body mod and that element of the world, like those, like the realism that came from that, for like, the like research element of the film. I thought that was fucking amazing. Like, it's like, holy shit, like, okay, that brings a whole new element. Like, okay, so like not only is he crazy and he believes his own bullshit, but like for all for all you super cinema buffs that's gonna call out all the nonsense that's not really real, fucking gotcha. But
Yeah.
like also, like you had said about the music, okay, I've been wanting to talk about it, like that secondary reveal when he, after he snags everybody up and he like to do, okay, come on. You can't tell me that we weren't supposed to laugh when Jackson, there's no crying. You're not a
Oh, yeah.
child. Your childhood was over the moment you knew you were going to die. Like that's great. Jackson, him kind of breaking character and laughing is very unexpected and also added to the overall amusement of it in and of itself. And then Sonny, Sonny, who fucking tore through the fucking wire. Like that in and of itself, that always bothered me more than everything else in that entire movie was that one scene where and I'm afraid of needles, for fuck's sake. Oh, also, I'll do the big reveal. For me, my huge ick was when he fucking touched that goddamn garbage bag with his bare fucking hand. Ugh! Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You see these fucking needles sticking out of this plastic bag? I'm like, let me just fucking pull this bitch apart real quick. Get the fuck out of here. That makes my skin crawl every time. I were watching, I was on mute just going, ugh! Anyway, so, fucking Jesus Christ. But like, so like, and then another thing that I think, I don't know, did you notice the fact that before he dies, he expresses the fear and helplessness of his situation?
Yeah, I have to watch it again because there's parts I remember and parts that I don't. Oh, okay. Well, my dad liked it. He's with you.
Holy shit! Thank you, Mr. Greenwald. Wow, I was not expecting that. Thank you, sir. Like, holy shit. That's awesome. No, like, I mean, and he actually got, like, he hit a point that I didn't even think of about the, no box office type, hype kind of thing. Because I never heard about it until after it came out. Sorry, what's up, Casey, man? I'm sorry. I'm kind of fucking hijacking and freaking
We
out.
can't hear you.
Yeah.
So Amanda's dad chimed in with, I actually liked the movie. To be fair, I learned more, seen more to the non-conventional, no box office type in regards to horror flicks.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a similar, like, that's kind of like where I am too, especially with one I hope we do in the future on like that Skinamarink.
I don't know if I want to watch that now. I don't know if you can be trusted.
Well, okay. Well, hold on. No, I can absolutely
I will watch. I will.
No, I can guarantee you that it's not anything close to what you would think of as torture porn. It's absolutely not. Like,
we'll say this: I've watched it, and I would watch that again before I watch this again.
Okay, that's fair.
but
Just broke my chair.
Oh goodness. I like I said, it there were so many things about it that were, yes, everything we would expect from a it's not fucking Shakespeare. It's not high art, I mean, we know that going into this.
Yeah.
But like, for the fact of, like I said previously, with Dee Snider not having really any of the experience of the writing element for movies, and then the idea in and of itself, and the bringing to life of that character in such a, albeit, I will even say, yeah, okay, it's over the top, but it's kind of intentional because
yeah,
he's crazy and shit. Fucking crazy people, like to him, he seems probably pretty fucking rational and right, pretty level headed. I'll bet he thinks he's fucking, straight up level headed feller. But no, like that's all those things, all those pieces and parts are equally as required as they are unnecessary at the same time. I shouldn't say unnecessary.
Superfluous.
Okay, sure. That's not a bad. Yeah, that's not a. Yeah, like that. That superfluous could be acceptable or exchangeable. I mean, but like they are essentially important, but they also need. I guess also I've watched it so many times that I've seen all of those subtle things, like his expression of the same helplessness and fear that he inflicted on the others as he's dying and whatnot. But like,
What he deserved.
exactly, and he got what he was coming to him, which is kind of the stereotypical trope for that. You can't have a good bad movie. You can't have a good versus evil movie without evil getting what's coming to it in the old stereotypical right off in the sunset fashion. But like,
that's why, like the end of Last House on the Left, the remake. He like blows
right,
his head up in the microwave, like you fucking deserve that.
right. But it's like
Womp
the.
womp. You want to read that, Casey?
That's funny. That's a good one.
A movie begs to question: Can
a person be this twisted?
Twisted, which we know is possible.
That's good. I was at the biggest laugh. Oh, for sure. That's dad. Yeah, that's a dad joke achievement for sure. Achievement unlocked.
I am not gonna lie. I am excited to get your dad on an evening at the movies sooner rather than later.
I know we need to just. I know it's my fault. We need to just.
Oh, we already had a discussion with him about it while you were transitioning from downstairs to upstairs, and he indeeded us.
Congressman.
Well, we can do that, or we can get him for part 2 of A Few Good Men. That's 6 months late, but
true.
Either way, he said indeed he is ready to come on. So,
but
you're gonna give this a 5-star review, I'm assuming.
No, I'm not actually.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm nope. Like I said, I am absolutely, in reality of what it is, which is also another reason why it's like, okay, like I get the points that you're trying to make, but like the extent of the points in which that are being made aren't necessarily entirely, filled in with the appropriate experience of having watched it the amount of times that I have to see those things and piece those together. Well, no, I'm serious. Like if you go through like,
I believe you. But...
well, I was going to say, like, if you were to able to find a way to be able to block the screen for you to not have to witness the things you don't particularly want to visually see, but like listen as well as, know what, like since you've already seen it, you'll know what's going on. So you can actually get that ability to be like, oh, this, that, and the other. Like it's like he explains himself as like in that first monologue when he's talking about the lack of, rituals to show adulthood with the, middle-aged bodies and childlike minds. And then he even explains himself a little bit to the cop before he gets, like not even so much when he gets cuffed, but like a little bit then. And then also like at, during the final game of cat and mouse, before he basically gives himself up, like he clearly wants to die anyway. He's challenging this cop. It's basically a long form essay on fucking psychosis, delusion, and fucking suicide by cop, which
that cop was the worst. Like,
and
as soon as the guy's out of the hospital, how did he not move his daughter across the country or send her to a private island, or after the attacks have her in protective custody? Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? How do you let your daughter get kidnapped like that twice? That poor girl's life is over.
That's actually so that was also another
They would never have
Go
let
ahead.
him work the case. That's the thing. That was
Oh,
the thing
you know,
that pissed me off.
and
Never
okay,
would let
like
him work that.
I can say that, you know, yeah, they have
that
like, you know, they have regulations there that are in place for stuff like that, but it's okay. So
Never in a
I
million years.
again I again pull the same fucking card that you laid out in the hand earlier about logic not necessarily applying to horror films.
Well,
And
yeah,
if
I
that
agree. It's just weird when they
and
try to make logic and then they don't.
well, okay, they're trying to make logic, but there's also, you know, like there could it be possible that they attempt to provide logic to offset the certain points where it's completely illogical in that, like in that particular regard? Because like
They're never going to go
that,
for
like,
this. So let's give them this little tidbit, and maybe that'll even it out.
well, I mean, to some extent, yeah. I mean, not for much lack of a better explanation for it, but I mean, it could actually be the case. It makes sense. That's how I would have done it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're right. They don't allow these things. But if it's supposed to be like a super small town, then, you know, if it's supposed to be like that, where, you know, it's that good old boy, you know, whatever blue wall. I don't remember what it's called, but like they would have not said anything. Just like,
Blue
you know, in real life. Yeah, thank you. But like in also, if he would have been in that area when they snatched him up and didn't say anything, anywhere else in the world they would have drawn and quartered him in the fucking courthouse yard. But fucking it's that small town, because if I'm not mistaken, the population on that sign ain't very fucking high. So like, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, nobody's gonna say shit, because that's, you know, that's also extrapolating on a stereotype that all small towns have this little code of this whole like Twilight Zone, this is the world thing.
I
But
also
like
feel like
also
he lacked a real sense of urgency, in my opinion, as well. Not all the time, but sometimes I just felt like, dude.
oh no, I absolutely felt that too. Yeah.
What
Like
are you
this is
doing
like,
right now?
yeah, like you got to be the worst dad in the world. Like you're not fucking
Yeah.
you're not burning down the world looking for this kid. Okay, well, you know.
No. I did not.
So I mean, I absolutely agree with you on that part for sure. But like, I don't know. If like I said, I think as I was kind of talking about this, I actually did kind of have the realization, like the reason I'm able to make these arguments like I am is from having watched it all those times. Like
Yeah.
there's been times where I've watched it only to just listen to what Captain Howdy was saying, because I was so curious about like, well, because like, you know, when he's quoting, you know, to the thousands that, you know, that attack the roots, or that attracted, you know, the branches of the tree of evil or whatever, there's one person that strikes at its root. That one quote, like that in and of itself is it it, it set and setting. He's watching them watch him set him up, try and bait him in a trap. So he's, you know, he says some witty quip, which that would absolutely track with the type of character that had been built up to that point anyway.
Yeah.
But like, and then, you know, death is like an old friend, you know, all the just like literally, like he almost always spoke in quotes.
Yeah.
So
No
you know,
original thoughts with this guy.
nope. The only original thought that he had was that it was his job to bring enlightenment to people, but which, holy shit.
Well, if we can get to the reviews, because I gotta go do
Yeah,
some
I'm solid.
laundry and shit.
I
But
again I apologize. I had been bottling that up from the
No, no,
watch
no, no.
party because
you
it's
don't have
like,
to apologize.
You
well,
are
I
absolutely
go a
fine,
little
sir.
hard in the paint, you know. It's
You do,
fucking,
yeah, that's okay.
I love movies, and especially like that movie for its own particular reasons, because it's one of those things. I think actually the last thing I'll say to encapsulate the reason I get the way I do about that one in particular is because I absolutely expected it to be 10 times worse than what it was. And the fact that we got so much quality things in the places that we got them in, you know, it elevated and accelerated that over a acceptable line of, well, this is a passable shit film.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
I mean, I go almost this
So
hard about Halloween 3, so I get the passion.
And No, for sure. And actually, like, I'll say it again because I know I've said it before, but I've always believed that that would be a great movie on its own.
Yeah, which is what it was supposed
Absolutely.
to be. It was supposed to be an
Yeah, I know.
adventure.
I know. And
100%.
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Casey's gonna lose his mind
So,
now.
so Chancy Grife, if you were going to rate this movie out of 5, what would you give it?
so I'm not going to give it a 4. I'm going to go like 3.75. I think 3.5 is too low. 3 is definitely too low. 4 is too high. But 3 3/4. I mean, just a little bit more than down the middle. I'd say it's more like, if we were going to go like, terrible, bad, good, awesome, it's kind of in the middle of good. For being realistic, outside of my own personal feelings. My own personal feelings, it's fucking great. But like in the reality, objectively speaking, I'll go 3 3/4 out of 5 because, you know, it's so fucking, it's just so, it's something else. It's the whole thing. Highly recommended. Everybody's got to check it out. Like that scene where the second thing with Genevieve, where all the filament wire, where she can't move. Like that is
Nope.
so like holy shit. Like that in
Nope.
and of itself is like its own. That like it's horrific, and it's almost horrific. It's almost horrific art in and of itself. Like that
Pass.
the shine from the light, the just everything. It's like I don't know. I'm a terrible person. I see such beautiful things and awful and horrific things,
Well,
but
that doesn't make you a terrible person. It's just having a I mean, you're not saying it's beautiful in the sense like you think it was right. You're just it's okay to aesthetically think. Plus, it's a movie; it's fake. So, say hi, Pearl.
well, that's true. Yeah, that's valid. That's also true. That's valid. But yeah,
Pearl necklace.
Hi, Pearl.
So,
All right.
co-host.
So I'll say it just wasn't for me. The genre is just not really, it feels very dated. Which I mean it is, but it doesn't feel dated in a good way to me. It feels like, I don't know. It had a lot of potential that I guess to me it didn't live up to, but I think that comes down to kind of what your personal tastes are and whatever. I thought, I don't know, some of the character development, like the detective, he was a terrible character. I almost didn't even give a shit about him. The only reason I did is because I was worried about the daughter. And a lot of the dialogue was just so over the top. Sorry, Chancey. I'm gonna
no,
put it.
dude. Be honest. You're good.
I'm gonna put it at an even 3, and I feel I'm being generous.
Honestly, if you think it deserves something else, give it your honest opinion.
No,
Like
I mean,
you've
but
expressed your opinion, and I respect the opinion you have. It's just don't buff it up on my account. You're not gonna. I mean,
if I'm being objective as far as quality of the story and the dialogue and all of that, I would probably give it like a 2.5. But I'm giving it more credit for what they tried to do and some of the things that they did achieve,
right?
and that that was probably a tough movie to make at that time and get released. But I don't like watching people be tortured. It's just, it used to not bother me, but something about being a parent has just changed that. And my horror style has become a lot more of a, I really like a whodunit kind of scenario versus a person who's out to hurt people, for some religious, moral, ethical, philosophical reason. I don't like seeing people be tortured. So that's a personal thing for me, and it takes away from my enjoyment. So
No, yeah, that's understandable.
all right, Casey.
So for myself, I can see both Amanda and Chancey's points of view in their arguments for and against this movie. I'm personally going to go be the moral in the middle of the pack person, and I'm going to go. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 for me. Um, Again, there's elements of this movie that I found it hard to get behind, and at the same time, you can say that's a good thing or a bad thing, whatever you want. Um, Aspects of the movie definitely made me squeamish and watch, from behind a hand peeking around my fingertips. So there is that, and obviously Chancey's going to get a solid laugh out of the fact that I spent a lot of time doing this for an hour
Honestly,
and a
that
half.
was that's honestly something I really enjoy, especially with people that are like friends, like Casey, especially, like people that you care about.
Yeah.
Like watching them experience something that you love for the first time. Like I knew exactly what I was getting into. Like I figured Amanda was gonna be, like, oh God, and you did not fail to disappoint. But Casey, you doing that, like, eh, 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 back and forth behind it and jumping every now and then when he'd accidentally peek out and look and something had happened. He's like, oh shit. Sorry.
So I think if I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and definitely give something that I absolutely loved about this movie, though, and it both Amanda and Chancey brought it up, is, and even Josh brought it up too, the sheer irony in
Right.
the what happened to Robert England's character, and the fact that in this movie he is the vigilante, you know, revenge seeker, but yet in 1984 he was the victim of said vigilante vengeance when he
That
was
was a
burned
cool
alive.
Easter egg for horror fans for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, and the fact that I really enjoy a solid Robert England performance. I think he's a very much slept on actor that deserves a lot more credit than he ever gets. And,
I
if
wish he
I
had
had
more roles than he's gotten.
true,
Yeah.
the problem is, I think, is it's too hard to naturally just associate him as being Freddy Krueger. So
I
maybe
know. But
producers
like,
and Hollywood have a hard time seeing him as anything else other than Frederick Charles.
yeah. I don't know. I agree with that actually. I've kind of felt that way, but this is a terrible example because this is kind of a shit movie that I still love. But like his minor part in Urban Legend, I found him to be
Yeah.
very believable. So I feel like, and I wasn't picturing him as Freddy. When the first
Right.
time I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's Freddy Krueger." And it was in my head, but when I've watched it more, I'm not thinking of him that way. So I was able to separate it. So it's like, it can be done. But
Therein lies the beauty of his talent, though, is if he's given quality material to work with, he literally can make you forget that he's Freddy Krueger.
but Urban Legend wasn't even quality material. Let's be honest. But
Right. Well, yeah. Well,
but
No,
I will
but
say
at
I
the
liked
same
his
time,
character and
it
found him
may not
believable.
necessarily be quality material, but if you have a director that you're working with that can give quality direction and all of that as
Yeah,
well, that can help with that process of getting people to not see you as being the one thing that everybody knows
yeah.
you're
I
famous
definitely
for.
believed
you
him as a
as.
college professor for sure. So
Oh, for sure. Although I do have to say he was also really good in The Mangler. All right, that's a guilty pleasure movie of mine as
okay.
well.
I haven't seen that in so long.
it's I mean it's also not good at all, but like he's the best part of it, and he's also not Freddy Krueger, but he's also a bad guy, so it's kind of like
There you go.
it's one of those things where you get to have him like express that extra little bit of range to be a bad guy who's not Freddy Krueger. Same
I
thing
mean,
with this movie.
I think he's got to be happy with his lot in life because he is a good actor, and I think he probably maybe he's done more small roles that we don't know about, but I also think he could have done more if he wanted to. That's kind of the feeling I have. I could be completely wrong, but I think he's happy playing or had happy of having played Freddy Krueger and having that legacy tied to him.
Yeah.
Oh, for
And
sure.
Like
spoiler
that
alert:
satisfies him, you know?
if you want to go and pick up his autobiography, that actually does get addressed
I
in
need to do
portions
that.
of his book.
So am I
So,
correct?
huh?
Am I right or am I wrong?
Oh no, you're absolutely 100%
Okay,
right.
cool.
And it. I don't really want to 100% quote the reasoning behind the stuff that he says, what he says, but there's times where he states in the book that he was waiting for the perfect role that he felt would allow him to separate himself from being strictly looked at as Freddy Krueger, because at the same time, probably one of the worst things that can happen to an actor is being typecast
Typecast.
in one particular role. I mean, ask Alfonso Ribeiro with
Mm,
the whole Carlton Banks thing,
yeah.
you know, Jaleel White with Urkel and all of that. I mean, once
Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, there is all of that. So, um, this was a very lively. I was not expecting it to go over an hour and a half, but
Sorry.
oh no, 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 no! I'm 100% not complaining, so don't take it like that. Um, I'm impressed with the fact that literally we've gone almost an hour and 40 minutes, and our viewership number in the upper left portion of the screen has consistently stayed the same number the whole time.
Well, that's
So
good.
there
I
have
mean,
been.
people like Chance's rants,
I'm I'm
and they like my
assuming
counter
a
rant.
portion of. I'm assuming a portion of that is Amanda's dad, and
Yes.
he is still here. So thank
Thanks, Dad.
you for being here. And I assume the other portion of the consistent audience would be Girl Casey and the Chancy Greif followers that showed up for the meltdown and stayed for the show.
And it did not disappoint. They never do.
But at the end of the day, I'm not. If anybody wants to show up and watch each and every week for whatever reason, I don't care what your reason is, show up and watch, and we'll try and deliver exactly what you need
How?
each and every week. So I cannot end the episode though without thanking the listeners for being here. As always, you guys are incredibly amazing. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason why we keep coming back each week to try and deliver quality episodes and quality reviews for you on stuff that we think that you guys would enjoy us talking about. Um, as always, Chancey Greif, thank you for being here. As
Always a
always,
pleasure.
Of course.
you
I'm
are
sorry.
a
I'm
trooper.
sorry.
You have forced us out of our comfort zone again, but we love that about you. And sometimes you have to get pushed out of your comfort zone, especially when it comes to horror movies. So,
Can when we do the Notebook, can we make Chancey watch it and be on with us?
All right, we'll do a watch party, but it's got to be Mystery Science Theater style, so I can just do all my shit talking because that's when I'm gonna have my best gold.
I feel like some retribution is in order. So
okay. So, spoiler alert for the schedule: the Notebook will be coming up. I did promise a listener who is interested in starting to check out and follow the show, that if she requested a movie, we would do it, and she requested The Notebook. So we will be getting to that sooner rather than later. Um, you are welcome, sir. Thank you for being here each and every week. You are amazingly awesome, loyal viewer. Let's see, what else do we got? Chancy Greif, where can the listeners find you?
Well, on Instagram, it's the Red Eye Roundtable, and same thing with TikTok. On X, it's Red Eye Table, and coming up with new and more creative ways to not only expose you to more horrific things that you both dislike, but do so in a very passionate fashion.
Passionate passion. Love it.
Yeah.
That'd be a
There's a
great
t-shirt
name for
for
a
you.
band.
That's also valid. I was gonna say that's a good T-shirt, but yes, that would be a great band as well. That's awesome.
Co-host, what about you?
You can find the sip list everywhere you get your podcast fix. At the Sip List Pod on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. X/Twitter is list_sip. So no episodes in the works right now. Future of the show is still undecided, just life shit. So we'll see, but you'll still find me here most weeks. So you won't miss out.
I can guarantee you at least 6 or 7 of the next 8 or 9 weeks she will be here,
Yeah.
because we have, and to quote your dad, Sip Listers Unite. Starting next week, we have a hand-picked by everybody's favorite co-host theme coming up. We are going to be discussing the movies of, and we are officially naming the month Thanks Grisham. So we will be talking starting next week in order. We will go The Firm, Pelican Brief, The Client, and then we will, on Thanksgiving Eve, release the episode on The Runaway Jury. And then coming up in December, uh, everybody's favorite co-host will have her birthday episode early in the month. And then we have a Christmas Day double feature coming up where we will recast the past with Christmas Vacation, and then we will have a traditional episode of An Evening at the Movies where Chancey Greif better be with us on this episode, because
I kind of gotta. I mean, if I can't not be there. That's fucking for real.
pretty much you requested the freaking movie, and it's one of your favorite movies. So
Right.
Silent Night, Deadly Night
Such a classic.
will be. So you get a National Lampoon element on Christmas Day, and then you get the horrific Chancey Greif loves fucking shit element.
That was one of my favorite boxes in the video store. Like when you go to Blockbuster and you're standing in the horror section, the cover of Silent Night, Deadly Night was always one of my favorites. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on top of it, it's just a totally fucked up movie anyway to begin with.
Yeah.
So there is all of that. We will be discussing that. And then, like I said, The Notebook will be coming up. At some point, we will get that episode recorded and we will get it released for everybody. More than likely, I don't think it has been announced yet, but I do want to say we may be taking half to 3/4 of the month of January off, though, just because we've been doing episodes each and every week constantly nonstop. And I feel like it's okay for Amanda and I to take a couple weeks off. But if we end up taking a couple of weeks off, it'll probably be, middle of January, and then we will be back on February 10th for our 4th anniversary. So we are plugging right along. So Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Amanda, for being the awesome co-host that you are. Thank you, everybody else in the network, for being the awesome supporters that you guys are. Thank you, Chancey Greif, for being here.
Always.
Way as much as you are needed. I appreciate the fact that if we need somebody to drop in, we can literally give you a day or two's notice, and you'll get whatever watched, and you'll join us. So you are
Of course.
appreciated, sir.
Always.
With
It's
all
always a pleasure.
with all of that said, Amanda, would you like to end the episode in the only fashion that you know how?
Yes, I did want to throw out there real quick. I forgot, but tomorrow is the 4th SIP-anniversary for the SIP list. So happy 4 years to the SIP list, even though this year has been a little slow. Just, I'm still excited and proud of all of us. So yeah.
Before you move on from that topic, can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
It is coming up, so I want to say happy 4th anniversary to the 8-hour marathon that was my first podcast recording session, because I believe it's coming up in the month of November.
I'm sure it was one of the first episodes.
I believe it was Friends related, and
it was.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but it was Friends topic.
It was one of those marathon ones that took Amanda forever to get edited down because there was so much content to edit out. So
if you're listening and you're watching and you haven't checked out the SIP list and you like top 5 topics, that's what the show is. So definitely go check out some of the older episodes, just because we're not having new ones right now. There's so much content to go listen to if you want to check out something you haven't before.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for listening, and those that watch live, thank you very much. We hope you all enjoyed the episode, and we hope you come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Peace and hair grease.
Here's my scar. Want to know
Vote for Casey.
Want to know how I got these scars?
You want to know how I got these scars?
Vote for Casey.